Oh, here we go. Here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the Bitcoin price charts, the altcoin market, the cryptocurrency market, along with taking a look over there at the stock market as it gets set to open up in the next 3 minutes. Of course, we'll take a peek over there at the DXY, US dollar currency index, precious metals, all that good stuff, and then peek on over there at any type of financial news or any type of crypto news that is getting our day kicked off. Today, we'll be kind of diving into the charts here. Also, there was some developer data that was released yesterday. If you stuck around late into the chat, it was like, man, this thing's going to come out any day. This huge report's going to come out any day. The report was released later yesterday afternoon. So we'll kind of go through some of that stuff today. So it'll be a little bit of a different Markets in the Morning today, just because we're going to kind of take a look at just the general landscape of the cryptocurrency market when it comes to full-time, part-time developers, where they're focused on, and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto market. We could see that Bitcoin is at $42,500. The mixed market over here. Lots of red, nothing huge red though, but you can see that Bitcoin is just down about 0.5% in here. Still just kind of waddling sideways here since the ETFs got launched, right? And let's see, launch date right here on the 11th, Friday, and then all throughout the long weekend, and still just continuing to hang out, still in there, just chilling, not doing a whole lot. Total to the altcoin market, still the story is the same. It's really just been tame here, sitting up in these prices for the past week or so. XRP moving back, still just hanging out in this region. This is a really interesting spot in here because we expected that we would have some type of backtest of these 54-cent levels. The daily candles all closed above there and have held above there. We did expect a wick, still stalling. Question is, are we now in something like this? Are we getting ready for things to go? We know that max euphoria have hit Bitcoin. Bitcoin's stalled out. Bitcoin's lost some energy, but there's a lot of excitement still throughout the cryptocurrency market. The question is that where we're at right now? Are we getting ready for the big ramp up to happen here as Bitcoin's back in the retracement levels? As for the stock market, looking at these things, right? If we just kind of look back to how things have behaved historically, let's just take a look at what the stock market is doing today. Stock market just opened. Dow Jones is down 85 points. Nasdaq is up 100. There we go. Up 160 points. Okay, so Dow is down 143 points. The Nasdaq is up 157. The S&P is up 16. So you got the Dow Jones down about 1/3%. The S&P up about 1/3%. And the Nasdaq up about 1%. Why would the Dow be down and all the other things are up? Simple, United Healthcare, right? So we've talked about this a lot. The thing that I've just got my eyes on when it comes to like concerns about what could be the catalyst or the event that gets blamed for everything happening, for the stock market falling apart. And I'm not saying it's happening right now, but they're at 5%. This is the biggest component of the Dow Jones Industrial Average is United Healthcare. Down 5% here to start the morning. It accounts for more than 10% of the Dow Jones Industrial Average is United Health. But, looking at things, we've talked about 4.236 extensions for the Dow and the NASDAQ and all that stuff, and I don't have that chart for us today. If you watch Markets in the Morning regularly, of course, you have seen it. But just kind of thinking along the lines, this is just the same stuff we always do in the hiking cycle. Then we are in the pausing cycle. We've recently just gotten out. Likely some type of back testing happening in here for the final hurrah to come in for the stock market. And then that just kind of ends the show for a little while. But keeping eyes on United Health because that is the top component. You can see the whole market, all green, one guy not. And that's pulling the whole Dow down. So, right? So you can see everything green, but yet the Dow Jones Industrial Average is in the red because of what a big player United Health is in it. Looking over there at yields have slipped slightly negative as the morning kicks off. Looking over there at precious metals, you have silver down, you have gold up, kind of mixed flat, I'd say, between the metals. And then with DXY, US dollar currency index, had a little bit of a back test of that fib happening in there yesterday, then popped itself right back up here this morning and today. But Bitcoin sitting here in these levels, XRP, total two, same stuff. XRP, we'll see, are we in our moment of where, you range, you break out, you back test the range, you extend it, then you come back in for a very real back test, just as we've seen in these things before, right? You break out, you range, you break out, back test, then you come back in for the real test in here, and then send the show on its way. That's what we're hoping for here right now. But okay, moving on, all these stuff. We're not going to go into all this. You guys see this in markets in the morning every day. If it's your first time tuning in, well, sorry. But it's still, thesis I'm thinking, we still have months left in this market. There's going to be volatility in here. There's still months left, though, in here before everything gets absolutely weird. Looking over there at gold at $2,011, trying to make sense out of what's happening here in this action at the top of this range. I can't see it here on the daily time frame. Difficult to see it here on the weekly time frame as well, except like if we wanted to just kind of be like, hey, we're just drawing trend lines on daily closes. But really the thing I do see, like if we just zoom out even further, really, right? What did we have? We've had the highest monthly candle closes that we've ever had for gold. It seems like maybe this is actually just a monthly backtest happening in here before it can continue marching up. Again, these things act inverse to each other when it comes to actual bull runs, when it comes to gold, or when it comes to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. There's never been a bull run between the two of them at the exact same time. There can be market liquidations that can happen where both of them will crumble to the ground at the same time, but there's never circumstances where both of them go into a bull. And so you have both of them kind of teasing who is going to be the one, who is going to be it. Neither one has signaled, hey, we're going into a bull run. They're just hanging out here near the top. My bets long term are that it's going to be gold rather than the Dow Jones, but we're still just waiting for these two to do their thing. As for Grayscale, as for the all of the ETFs, they're all red again today, still continuing their streak of red since the day of launch. So Bitcoin ETFs still continuing their trajectory of red. So, it's whatever. I mean, that's just what happens with ETF launches, right? So getting an idea of, right, like even in here, right? This is the BTO launch right in here. BTO gets launched right in here. Back in October, right? It just stalls out. There's one more push and over. We've shown that over there on Coinbase, right? This is just my hypothesis of the market. These are my thoughts of where we're at. Just because you follow the channel for forever, it's always been retrace. People asking me all the time, "What do you think it's going to go to an all-time high?" I'm like I'm not going to bet that we're going to an all-time high. It's retrace. We've gotten here. We get the launch of the ETF. Still, there could be plenty of time to just hang out and dangle in here and let those altcoins really kind of take their show and start doing their thing. And of course, we've seen a lot of action in the altcoin market as well. But I think one thing we're going to want to harp on today to make this markets in the morning a little bit different. And this is not, I brought sentiment on the channel one time. And of course, you just get people replying, I don't want this. Okay, fine. If you don't think it's important, that's fine for you. But in markets in the morning yesterday, we talked about, hey, man, I bet this this annual developer report is going to be coming out pretty soon. Sure enough, later in the day, it did. 180 pages over here from Electric Capital developer report. You can find this on developerreport.com. When I went to Consensus 2023, this is what got the ball rolling for me for really focusing on different developer activity in the market and finding out where are devs going to. That then, of course, led down the huge rabbit hole of studying developer activity between the different coins within the market, and then studying performance of the market to show that the developer activity group absolutely outperformed the average of the market, outperformed the top coins by market cap. It was the segment that clearly won. And so we've been going, that's what all these newsletters for the last it was like 4 newsletters all focusing on that stuff of what changed between 2021 and 2017, right? Because it was very surprising. It caught me by surprise as well to see that, back in 2017, if you threw your money at the top 10 assets by market cap in the cryptocurrency market, 9 out of 10 of them went on monster runs. The average returns between them was 70x. And that was for alt season number 1. And then that does not even account for alt season number 2. You can practically 10x that and make it 700x average returns for 2017, with 9 out of 10 of them going absolutely bonkers. But in 2021, the numbers were very different. It was only 2 out of every 10, and the average returns were 12 to 13x. Huge difference. So having to figure out, why is it out of the top 100 coins in the market, only 22% of them did anything significant, 22% rather than 90% in 2017. And that led down the path of, I need to go to consensus. I'm going to learn some stuff. I'm going to figure out what's going on. And then finally going through all the data, spending all of 2023, making that like my primary side project to focus on. And it does turn out the developer activity information is what did end up leading to that. So if you want to read all of my case studies and analysis that I've done for that, you can check that out in my newsletter on blockchainbacker.substack.com. But this information right here is completely for free. You don't even create an account here. You just go to developerreport.com. Let's see, this is what it'll look like when you get here. Click on the top, go to developer report, boom, there it is. It's totally for free right here, 180 pages by Electric Capital. So shout out to these guys for doing this, for putting this out there for free. I don't even think you can create an account here. I don't even think they sell anything here. They just totally give this out for free. It's absolutely amazing. So we're going to kind of go through this today, and we're going to take a look at the state of the cryptocurrency market and where it's at right now. And how it's very different from how it's been in the past. And you're going to see things in here that maybe you're in love with, that you're going to realize aren't doing as well. And then maybe you'll get surprised by some things that are doing even better. And I think what's really interesting too is just how, we're talking about Bitcoin, potentially just going into a retracement here and struggling. And we're talking about things like the Dow Jones Industrial Average reaching a 4.236 extension. I'm curious, are we seeing stuff like that showing up here in the developer activity too? And you'll understand why I'm saying that in here. So what we'll do is we go through here. There's going to be a lot of stuff I am going to skip through, merely because I try to keep markets in the morning around an hour. I fail every day, and they take it to an hour and a half. But just for time purposes, we are going to skip a lot of stuff. But in the beginning, they go through talking about how they came up with their data, all the people that contributed to it, and to give you an idea of just how the processes that they used to obtain this and the filtering that they did to remove duplicates, any type of bot activity. Of course, who wouldn't want to, on like Sentiment, for example, right? It lists the developer activity by 30 days. Well, if you're just some tiny little project, wouldn't you just want to put a bot on it and just have it constantly updating like basic code? Then all of a sudden you look like you have a tremendous amount of development activity and you show up on all these lists, right? So they do have processes to try to filter all of that out, so that's not appearing in there and eliminating that. But all right, looking over here, 22,411 monthly active open source developers contribute to crypto. One of the things that I've noticed that is interesting about what we've seen in crypto now has been just the decline that we're experiencing. Like if you go back to the 2018, 19, and 20 bear market, it really just stalled out and went flat. However, this time, look how deep down it's gone. Now, one thing that they even do state in here is, right, like a lot of times what happens is developers follow price action. So if prices move up, we typically see developers follow after that. So we've seen prices moving up, and typically the developers are going to be lagging behind after that. And that also was the case back in 2018 and 19, is that, we ended up, we had a year of crumb. But we go all the way back up very quick in the earlier half of 2019. So those developers all came pouring back in. And so there wasn't like this long period of gloom down in here for so long back in 2018 and 19 is really the kind of way I do think about it. But it is very interesting to see that it really was just stable in 2018 and 19 and such a big decline here in 2022, 23, and 24. There you go. Monthly active developers fell by 24% in 2023. Definitely, I believe, the biggest ever in the cryptocurrency market. But devs working for 1+ years grew steadily. Okay, I don't know if these are going to be vitally important. They are trying. So what they're trying to show is that most of the losses that come from here, from developers leaving, are actually newcomers, right? So if you look at emerging, which are 1 to 2 years in crypto or 2+ years in crypto, those are all still climbing. It's all those people who just come from the whim, they're here for a moment and then they're gone. Most of the people leaving are the people who are relatively new. The people who are experienced are still continuing to grow. What did that say? Why do we care? Right? Experienced developers push more code. So 75% of the code is actually created by developers that have been in crypto for at least a year. But okay, let's look at that. What's that? Established devs have grown 52% per year for the last 5 years and are all-time highs. And the newcomers, they just all come and then they bail. But what is interesting is looking at that trend, right? Growth, pullback, growth, and then boom, we're all the way back down below the peak of 2018's newcomers. Okay, what I'm going to skip forward to is you can go through most of this report on your own. But here's some interesting stuff. So let's look at this. Which ecosystems drew in newcomers in 2023? Number of newcomers who wrote code in each crypto ecosystem in 2023. Ethereum, Polygon, Other, Solana, BNB, Cosmos, Arbitrum, Polkadot, Near, Avalanche, Optimism, Internet Computer, and Bitcoin. And we go all the way down the list. One of the things that I've talked a lot about for 2024, for those who are in XRP, I'm going to put out a video at some point soon, kind of highlighting this and focusing on this, is that I believe there's a culture problem in the XRP community that is massively focused on conspiracies. And I think a lot of that also goes with the riddles, right? Focusing on the riddles and things like that. Like there's secrets upon secrets. There's dot connecting. There's all this hidden stuff going on behind closed doors. And we have to focus on Ripple and the secrets that are happening in there. And then anytime there's ever any type of projects being built on the XRP ledger, anybody trying to grow anything or do anything, they immediately get chastised and attacked on social media as scammers, opportunists, anything like that. You pretty much can't build on the XRP ledger without getting attacked. And the main focus is secrets, conspiracies. There's one way you can look at this. You can look at this as there's a massive problem and it's gloom and doom and negativity. And that's the way a lot of people do look through things. Or you can look through it and be like, there's a big opportunity for improvement. And it may be one of the reasons why the XRP price has also struggled. Because when we go back and we look at everything and we say, what has the big impacts on pushing prices up? A lot of it has to do with the development activity that's happening on there. And then when we look at what's happening with XRP, here you are. Massive market cap, massive community, massive supportive community, lackluster development activity, completely lackluster. You can view that as, oh, it's doomed, or there's the problem we need to be working on. There's the thing that we have the opportunity to fix. Because if we can shift this guy to here, and people are wanting to do all their stuff and build all their stuff over here, that's the opportunity, right? So I've talked about that in 2024. That's going to be my main focus, is awareness and how to do it and how to bring more attention to it. That's something that has to be fixed, guys. Has to be. We need to find the pain points and work on that and figure out how can we improve. So you see this, right? Stop the conspiracies. Stop, the secrets upon secrets, and support growth. The ones with the biggest 17 ecosystems with over 1,000 new developers from 2023. Those would be Polygon, Solana, BNB, Cosmos, Arbitrum, Polkadot, Near, Avalanche, Optimism, Internet Computer, Bitcoin, CeeLo, Starknet, Phantom, ZK Sync, Aptos, and Filecoin. Newcomers support multiple chains. Okay, we're not going to get into all the multiple chains talk that they have in here. This goes on for quite some time. But what we're seeing right now is it's not so much of developers really focusing on one particular chain. Well, there are developers who do that. A lot of developers now do work on multiple chains, which is a stark difference from what we've actually seen in past. So let's get to the meat of the data that we care about, right? So talking about the actual developers within the ecosystem. Where are you? We're going to get it. Okay, here we go. If you're going to pay attention to anything, this is the one to pay attention to. Okay, so the top 200 crypto ecosystems. So what Electric Capital, so the difference between Electric Capital and Santiment, right? So I brought Santiment on, and they're showing the actual development activity that's happening on chain. So you're seeing like their development activity score to see who is getting a lot of code commits and what's actually being built. What Electric Capital is doing is they're focusing on the actual number of developers, number of full-time developers, part-time, newcomers, one-time, all that stuff. So they're focusing on who, and like I said earlier, the full-time developers are the ones committing 75% of the code. They're the ones who are actually making changes that are happening in here. So what we're going to go through here is we're going to see total number of developers and how their growth and declines are happening and how the market is looking and how that is in relation to the market. And then we're going to be looking at full-time developers and how that is, because every report I've seen, the presentation that I've seen them deliver, full-time developers is the absolute most important thing out of anything. If you're looking at full-time, if you're looking at part-time, if you're looking at one-time, total, anything, just focus on the full-time developers. So the first one that we're actually going through is just total. And after we go through total, then we'll be focusing over there on full-time developers. So 9,357 monthly active developers work on the top 200 ecosystems outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is down 31% year over year. Never been a year like that before. Ever. Never. Which ecosystems grew despite the overall developer growth headwinds? So, fastest growing ecosystems by overall developers were Scroll. Never heard of it. I went look, and a lot of the stuff you can't like buy a coin for it. Okay. So like, and that's the thing to pay attention to. Like one of the things I noticed when I went to, Consensus was that on their lists, SUI and Celestia were like on these lists, and I'm like, well, what, how do I get that, right? Like, how am I supposed to partake in it? And like, if you were ever wondering, why Solana, right? How did people land on the next Solana? It's not because like 48 influencers shilled them a meme coin, okay? It's because it showed up on these types of lists that there was development activity being worked on these protocols. And then when they launched, there was already interest built up to go grab it. And that was the case that happened for SUI and for Celestia. So like TIA. This was how I knew to grab this right in the beginning, right upon launch. Because it was constantly showing up on these developer lists. And this thing has almost 10x'd in 2 months. That's not the case on all of them, right? Like you can look at SUI. It does a 10x right out the gates, right? Now, if they launched here, right, like which is where TIA did, the picture would be looking different. They launch, they pull all the way back, and then it pulls all the way back up. But since October, it's from 36 cents getting as high as $1.44. So what? At about 4x's from there, right? 3x's from there. But that's how people landed on Solana. If everybody's like shilling over there on Twitter saying this is the next Solana, well, it's because people were building on Solana. Solana, it wasn't just a coin that just happened. Solana, ended up being something people built on and worked on. And so focusing on these types of things of, paying attention to when they're coming out. So Scroll, I don't believe it's something that is out. You can't go buy a coin for it. Aztec Protocol, I believe that's the same case. Celestia is TIA, what we just showed. And then you got Elio, Ton, Internet Computer, Metis token, ZK Sync, Status, and Starknet. Fastest growing by overall total number of developers. Let's start by looking overall developers in each ecosystem. These are my favorite things to look at right in here. And it's really interesting how they had to do it this year because in past years, the baseline is 0. But on average, ecosystems lost 23% of their developers overall. So the baseline is actually much lower than what we've seen in past reports because this is the first time to see such massive developer loss throughout the cryptocurrency market. So 23% is the baseline average for the entire market. And you can see even Ethereum down 33% total developers while still having the absolute most number of developers by far and away, way up here at 14,000. And then, following way behind Polygon at 5,500. But to give you an idea of just how massive Ethereum is and how much really goes on over there, we'll zoom in a little bit to get a better look at these up close. So now here we go. So now we've got Ethereum way out there, and you can see what are they telling us? Okay, we're going to focus on over here. All right, things that you can see here: ecosystems with 5,500 devs. Okay, yeah, wait, hold on. Let's go back. What you see here is all these top ecosystems did lose, right? The ones with all the most number of developers in them, all of them were down. Every single one over the last year, total devs is actually painted into the red, some way more than others. And you see things like this, Solana down a total of 48% devs. And that the narrative is far different than that, right? When I believe it was Kathy Wood, follow the devs, everybody's like, follow the devs. It's like, we saw what happened with this. This is like EOS in 2020, right? When this stuff happened, it led to a long-term bad. So, this was we went through it, and I think like nothing that was falling like massive numbers ended up doing anything substantial into the run. So things that are painted in like super red in here are ones that obviously are at least below the average of the market, right? So these are all yellow because they are red, because they are in the negative. But they're yellow but they are above the average. Not only are near BNB, Solana, and Polygon negative, but they're negative beyond what the market average is. So, okay, we'll shift on. Next on, we move into the subset that actually is going to be down here. So we're going to shift away from these 1,500 plus devs, and we're going to shift down into lower ones. And then here we go. We start to see a little bit of a different picture. Algorand, right? People ask me about Algorand all the time, and I've been trying to explain. Algorand has been just getting hammered in regards to developers leaving. There you go. Algorand, so far, that's the biggest number that we have seen out of all of these. What's our worst one so far? So far, Solana at negative 48%. There's Algorand, right? Negative 57%. Followed with Phantom, IPFS, Aptos, Filecoin. Baseline, again, 23%. You got stuff here in the yellow, but let's go ahead and talk about positive things, right? Base, of course, that's with Coinbase, right? Scroll, again, I don't know what Scroll is. I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for that for whenever that launches, if they even do a token launch with it. ICP, most developers and in the green for total developers there, plus 37%. With Starknet, ZK Sync, and Moonbeam. I have no clue what Moonbeam is, but I see Jungle Inc. talking about it all the time. Jungle Inc., underrated guy. I think he totally, I think he's totally on point in finding stuff. The stuff what he says he's like interested in. The people are like, yeah, that's dumb, and it's like, well, he's paying attention to this. I have a feeling he is paying attention to activity that is going on chain, and so I know that he's been focused on that one. So anyway, I don't know what it is, and I don't know any of it, but he's on it. But anyway, ICP, your biggest one in there was Starknet in regards to total number of developers, and like that's an interesting thing to see, right? Because when we go back here, and we're back like above 2,000 developers, everything's in the red, nothing's in the green. ICP is one of those ones close to that 2,000. It's got the most number of devs out of here, right? And also in the green. So that's interesting. All right, moving on, going even lower, right? So we're now going to shift down even into these guys down in here. There you go. All right, Tron, There's our biggest one so far. Negative 64% developers. The graph, negative 66% developers. Mina, Arweave. Mina is an interesting one because we're going to actually see Mina on a different list because remember, this is all total devs. Remember, they emphasize the most important is full-time. And we haven't gotten to full-time yet, which we have an actually entirely different picture for Mina. Hedera, negative 26. Harmony, Flow, Tezos, Arweave, Terra, EOS. Okay, then we shift over here to still negative, but above the baseline average. There's too many in here. We'll shift over. Who's positive, right? Chainlink, right? We see that over there on Santiment. We see them with 30-day development activity, right? Status, we see them over there on development activity, right? So on 30-day development activity, we do see Status, we see Chainlink, and we see ICP over there in Santiment, right? There's Celestia, Elio, Aztec, Mantle. These, I guess, haven't launched yet, so I think that's what new yet means. There is no coin available for those yet. Things to kind of keep eyes out for. All right. Overall devs includes one-time and multi-chain developers. Let's consider only full-time and single-chain developers, starting with full-time devs. All right, so this is apparently the data to pay the most attention to, okay? When it comes to actual developers, these are the important ones, the full-timers. And then there's the different picture for Mina. Mina is actually number 2 when it comes to full-time devs. Okay, so you got Aztec, Mina, Scroll, Celestia, Metis, Status, ZK Sync, Starknet, Ton, and Chainlink. Baseline. Okay, the average ecosystem in the cryptocurrency market lost 15% of their developers. So zero baseline, not this year. The average for full-time loss is negative 15% in 2023. Ethereum way up in here at negative 20, worse than baseline. Down in here, we'll zoom in once it gets Ethereum off the picture. Come on. There we go. Polygon, negative 32, but still one of the most full-time devs happening in here. Polkadot way up in here. One of the most developers working on it, full-time developers working on it, right at the baseline at negative 15. Cosmos just under negative 20. Arbitrum right on the line, negative 15. There you go. BNB and Solana, guys. Solana, again, negative 38%. That's the worst one on the page. I find it hard to believe the stories of follow the devs. This is telling us the devs are not sticking around with Solana. BNB, negative 25%, near Kusama. So everything with over 400 full-time developers, all of them drifted down in 2023, all the big ones. So what does that mean? They're likely shifting into new stuff or just leaving entirely, as the average is a negative 15% loss. So let's go down here. Boom. Okay, now we're shifting down to stuff below 400. Okay. Algorand, again, negative 45%. The worst one on the page. Negative 45%. Phantom, IPFS, Aptos, Filecoin, Tezos. Here's all these in the middle. So there's a different picture for ICP at negative 9%. Above market average of negative 15, but at negative 9. Here we go. Cardano, plus 8% on Santiment's developer. Santiment, right? The 30-day development activity. Cardano is always number 1. There you go, plus 8% on full-time devs. There's Moonbeam again. ZK Sync and Starknet, again, these two showing up again. There's Mina at 112%. There's Status again. Status, we keep seeing that over there on full-time devs, total devs, and development activity. There's Stellar at plus 16%. There's Hedera at negative 2, above market average, but just kind of like right on the line. Polygon, ZK, EVM, and Base, not launched tokens. All right, here we go. Zooming in further. There's XRP now. XRP in the last report was up year over year, now slipped to negative year over year. This is your focus, people, not conspiracies, not secrets upon secrets built on secrets. This. You need to focus on excitement in the crypto market. Okay. the graph way down here, negative 46%. Again, baseline average is negative 15. It's the average for the market, negative 15. See, there's XRP below the zero, but above the negative 15 at negative 10. Clayton Bat, Multiverse X. So there goes Stacks. Chainlink again, Chainlink in positive territory. Ton, Scroll, Metis, Celestia. That's that TIA coin we just showed a second ago. Aztec, and then Mantle and Linea, which haven't been released as a token yet. So that kind of gives you a picture of just where things are lying. We've talked about this a lot through 2023. That there didn't seem to be there was like a correlation between if stuff like this is happening, it impacted what type of excitement returned back to a coin in regards to like going into some type of bull run. There had to be activity happening on chain, and there had to be projects being built. And those are very important for whatever ecosystem that you're cheering for, that there's building happening on it. There's a reason people want to use it. And it's not just a bunch of people screaming it's going to go up because of some magical story. The best chances are getting people actually using it and doing stuff on it. And that's the important thing to pay attention to. So you can check this out for yourself over here on developerreport.com. I think that's all we're going to do in regards to this, because we could spend for forever here. But I always love to look at these charts right here to get in, to visualize it and see it, because throughout the whole year, they don't put out this chart all year. It's only once a year they put out this actual chart where you can visualize it. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of data, and I have to copy it, put it in my Excel sheets, and then I'm just like going through Excel constantly doing crazy numbers. But then this is where it gets nice and visually put out for us. And so I always enjoy looking at this, and then I get to visualize, see like you guys have heard me say Algorand has been struggling really bad. Now you can visually see it, where the market, nothing on this page has 45% except negative 45% except for Algorand. So you can kind of get an idea of just where you're where you're standing in relation to the market, how the average of the market is doing. Are you doing better? Are you doing far worse? Is that something to be concerned about? So cool. There you go. Daniel says, hey, bro, now it's a bit overwhelming for me. If Near and Kusama, et cetera, decline in full-time devs, are you also going to swap out some high dev coins? Right. So like when I am going through and I'm picking out stuff for high dev activity, there's a list on sentiment, and there's things that I focus on that are outlined in here, right? And the things to pay attention to are where if things change, right? And that's even mentioned in here. There's times where things are moving up in lists, and then there's times where things fall out. Near has fallen out. So not only is it showing it over there on Developer Report, Electric Capital, it's even fallen out over there on sentiment. So yeah, Near is something I'm losing interest in being in at all, due to the declining that's happening with it. But it's cool, because then it gives you the chance to say, well, what's doing well that maybe we don't notice, right? Swap it over. So, all right, there you go. That was your daily developer activity. If you'd like to understand why that's important, what a perfect opportunity to check out the newsletter and read why. But this data for you is totally for free. Congratulations to these guys for getting it out. I know that's their big project they do every year at Electric Capital, which is developerreport.com. They don't even know I'm talking about this. For all the haters who's like, you're sponsored, you're shilling. It's 100% free. They don't even know me. So go for it. Go enjoy the data for yourself. I like to plop on my couch and just have my iPad and just click through and just spend time studying it. So, okay, there you go. No huge changes over here in the crypto market. Hopefully we're actually on the brink of these things turning their way around, and these things kind of getting their way up. We're like at that moment, right? So good luck to us in the coming days and weeks over here in the altcoin market, because that's where I think if there's any action in this market, that's the place where it's going to be. Of course, Bitcoiners, I cheer for you to get your 80,000. I do hope you make your 100%. I hope you just completely change your life when you get to 80,000. It was this utterly life-changing. but I'm chasing the big boys. Okay, I'm playing big boy numbers here. I have no interest in 90% or 100%. I'm here for 10x. All right, there we go. I think that's it. Let's see how the stock market is doing, just to see how we're returning. It looks like the Dow is slightly improving. United Health must be on the rebound. Oh, look at that. You got a lot more shift into the red here. What happened? So it looks like it kind of gone from Dow rebounding, NASDAQ pulling back, S&P still kind of staying exactly the same. Apple, Nvidia, and Meta are the leaders of the morning. Losers are United Health, Ford, and Roblox. Metals, how are you doing? Metals on slight rebound this morning. Nothing huge, nothing to run into a mom about. How's the DXY? DXY slightly up 0.13, which is 0.13%. All right, there we go. That's how we start our day. I think the big thing is to go educate yourself on the developer activity going on in the market. Paint that picture. The best way you can help yourself is to educate yourself and have better knowledge on here. Relying on Twitter to feed you entries and exits has never worked. It has never worked. It's the lazy man's way, but it doesn't work. The best way to do it is to have conviction in what you do. And I have found great ways to reinforce my thoughts when I see things going on charts, is to reinforce it with data like this. So you go get that for free. This is free. Santiment, of course, they have paid stuff, but you can access all that 30-day development activity stuff for free. Get yourself educated. XRP just glitched in my mind to $10,000. All right, there we go. Daniel, before the stream even started, had Daniel Lechner gifted a BCB membership. Thank you, brother. And he followed it with a super chat and says, "Can we ever do a poll and see how many of us Degens are blue collar?" HEO here, building the green energy of tomorrow. Sure, no problem. I would love to know that too. For those who don't know, all right, a blue collar is somebody. Let me start a poll. Which are you? Blue collar, white collar. Blue collar is somebody who's going to be out there swinging a hammer, operating a rig, doing physical work for their job, out there kicking butt, taking names, being the man. But there's also the other men, kind of like me. Obviously I don't wear a white collar. I don't put on a collar at all. But, if you're doing computer work, if you're a CEO or if you're an accountant, a marketer, telemarketer, you're the HR department, human resources, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be your white collar, your blue collar. You're out there swinging the hammer. What are you? Did my poll go through? There it is. All right. Abbas, Hassan, member, new, welcome. Andy Philpott gifted a BCB membership. Thank you, brother. Reflected Digital gifted a membership as well. And then follow, before the stream even started, he said, let's see how bullish this intro is. Huh. Okay. HTB, Hot Tub Brian gifted a membership. Thank you very much. And then Proud Father of 5. Thanks, BCB, for everything. P.S. Somehow I see no excitement at all in the market. Lots of mixed emotions and fear. PS2. Hit the like button, everybody. Maybe that's please. PS2. Yeah. Which, it's good. Right, it's good. There's definitely all the spinning of narratives happening out there. If you guys, so maybe a lot of you guys don't do this. If you don't follow the Bitcoin maxis, you don't follow of course I follow them. I want to know what they're saying, right? I'd like to see what are they telling people. How are they spinning everything? And it is funny to see the mental gymnastics that come when it comes to flows on the Bitcoin ETFs. And so I always try to share that information with you guys. All right, there we go. What do we got? We have 351. We're pretty split. I call that close enough, unless if it really shifts to 65-35, 59-41. Close enough. 42-58. Close enough. Well, I mean, and it depends on what asset you're into. Like from emotional standpoint, I see people out there like XRP is like gutter, gutter sentiment for sure. And you know what's always fun to do too is like I like to go look at um, other like I'll look at YouTubers' view counts that are like more like XRP related and stuff like that, and those view counts are down right now, which means there's like just people are in the gutter on it right now. And that's usually what happens before some type of excitement returns. There's a lack of belief in the rally. It's the same stuff. Climb the wall of worry. Nobody believes in it. Everybody's pessimistic and all that. Degenerate speculator. Can you touch over your alts plan short and medium term? Won't they fall when Bitcoin stocks fall? Right. So short and medium term. So you want me to give you short, medium, and long? Like, give me all of your trading plans on very short, medium, and long term. Right now, I'm just not really touching them. I'm kind of waiting. This is really the anticipated moment for me for a long time. I've been buying, accumulating lows. We're getting up in here now. Now, this is the time to watch if all of this distribution happens in here and if this is where the altcoins can go up. A 20% flush, 30% flush doesn't shake me out. Most people can't handle that. They do not know how to handle that in this market. It's evidenced by all the toxic comments that you get when price moves down a little bit. We even talked about it earlier. If there was any type of backtest that would happen over there in total, which I don't have on the screen anymore, what did we talk about? We said people would become absolutely, utterly horrid again. And like somebody had asked me, I remember one comment, like, can you kind of tell me what the sentiment is like? And it's like toxic. Every time. If this thing pulls down here, anger, frustration, screaming, and it's the same stuff. You get up here, we're going to the moon. Here's 100,000 analytical reasons why we're going to the moon. It'll be back and forth. For me right now, I don't touch anything because we're down here. If this waddles around in here, so be it. This is where the areas that I'm watching for first to say, okay, is there something I have to do short, medium term at this point? Otherwise, it's just waiting for me. It is just waiting. And man, I know how to do it. My brain is farting. McGuire. A. McGuire. That's what it is. A. McGuire. Exciting times except for Bitcoin. Good job on all your analysis, BCB. You and TXMC should do a stream together, just talking charts and having fun. I totally agree with you. All right, the poll is relatively close. I would pretty much call it a split, coming in at 54% white collar, 46% blue collar. It just goes to show we can all be friends at the end of the day. We can all love BCB. No, but I think that's pretty cool. It really kind of shows you we're all walks of life is what that actually means. Respect for each other. There you go. But yeah, as for TXMC, yeah, for sure. Like we talk about it all the time. There's definitely no opposition to either of us actually doing it. Neither one of us has just made any time for it, and we haven't gone into it with like a plan. If you don't, the thing about those things is TXMC, he puts a lot of work into his stuff when he does his presentations and everything like that. So it's pretty much me asking him, hey, build a whole thing to come on here. But when I go on other people's channels, they say, is there anything in particular? Like I've done quite a few interviews on other different channels, and is there anything you want to present, or is there anything you want to do? And I tell them every single time, if you don't know this, for every interview I've ever done, I just tell them, no, I'm just going to wing it. That way I'm not stressing. If I have something very particular I have to talk about, it's more stress for me. So I prefer to not know any of the questions that I'm going to get. I prefer to not have any game plan, and I just roll with it and see how it ends up going. But yeah, I'll talk with them, I guess, and it's those types of things There's no way for me to appease everybody, right? That's just impossible. I mean, you could see that in there, the difference that we have, like 50% white collar, 50% blue collar. We have every walk of life in there. So there's half the people, a segment of people who really enjoy that type of content. And there's another half that don't really like that kind of content. There's half of the people who like markets in the morning. And then there's half of the people that are like, that is totally not for me, right? And there's people that are, I just want videos, right? So it's, it's also understanding, you put in a lot of work and it doesn't appease everybody. And it's what you always want to do. But yeah, bring them on. Bring them on. It's always fun. Marius Larson, when are you going to sell? Do you use Ledger Live app when selling, or do you send it to an exchange first? What platform do you use? I don't ever recommend exchanges. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself and find your own exchanges. But I do not sell through the Ledger Live app. I do have exchanges. I send it to exchanges first. But there are a million exchanges who would pay me $10,000 to just mention their exchange in one video, if you don't know that. And there's definitely people don't realize what it takes to not have sponsors on the channel. They're throwing money at you. I don't want sponsors on the channel, and I definitely don't want to give any of the exchanges free marketing. And one of the reasons why as well is not just because of the free marketing aspect, is that I've been in crypto for almost 7 years now. In just a couple of months, it will be 7 years. I've seen every exchange have problems. Everyone, right? In the United States in 2017, the most popular exchanges were Poloniex, Bittrex, Coinbase, Binance. I don't know if Binance was in 2017. It was like Coinbase, Poloniex, and Bittrex. I think you could access Bitfinex back then. I think you could. Then US, you can't access Bitfinex. Then Bittrex goes full KYC close you out thing. I don't remember what happened with them. Poloniex can't use any United States customers. Now Bittrex is completely gone and faded. Bitfinex, does anybody even use Bitfinex? I don't know. Definitely not in the United States. Binance, you could use as a United States citizen. Boom, you get kicked out of it. FTX completely collapses, right? And you've got Coinbase, who's still alive and standing and does not have any issues. But of course, they're being, as you all know, yesterday they had their big court date because they're getting sued by the SEC. Every exchange has their problems. And so I don't ever like to be like, this is the one that I love to use. One, because that's what they would love for me to do. And two, because they just tend to have problems. Find the ones that you are comfortable with that are available in your jurisdiction and roll with it, right? Seek Ga William, thank you very much, brother. New member, welcome. Daniel, hey, bro. Now it's a bit. Oh yeah, we already did that one. DJ Supernova, new member, welcome. Spags, oh, here we go. Blue collar here. Union Electrician, thank you, BCB, for being real. Thank you, brother. I forgot to mention, okay, we got my electricians. What about my truck drivers, right? I know we've got multiple truck drivers. The heartbeat of America. The bloodline. Austin, morning BCB. First time in a long time. I've been following your content since before 2022 and 22 and a half. Oh, since before the 22 and a half cent days. And I just want to thank you for all that you do for the community. All right, back to lurking. Austin, thank you for coming out of the shadows, man. Somebody who's been here for a long time. Thank you, sir. Philip Mann, BCB is the cross borders bridge for blue and white collar. Team blue collar. Let's go. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, consumer to blockchain solutions. Yeah, and I saw your post on Twitter too. How you were excited. So you've read the report too. I saw your post over. I saw you over there on Twitter. Keep an eye out for the XRP EVM sidechain with EVM devs building on multiple chains. I think it will be essential for developer growth. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean that has to be. And I'm probably gonna talk to other influencers too and figure out how, because the message just needs to get out there. We got to find a way to get the message out there to draw in developers, and it can't just be screaming and everything like that. And as a community, when you see development happening, get how to support that development and work towards that development. It's kind of like the Eric Bouchalis, the ETF guy, the Bitcoin ETF guy. Who was it that on TV the other day said, XRP ETF, and remember, every YouTuber has to make a video about anything like that, and it ends up happening like that. But Eric Bouchalis commented on that and said, "Oh boy, you're going to draw out the XRP community. It is notorious. The XRP and the Charles Hoskinson drama, right? It is notorious that the XRP army comes on pure attack mode, and that is the branding that we have outside of XRP. And then when anybody tries to build anything, the XRP, it's unfair because it's probably less than 1% of the XRP community that does it. Goes on the attack. Anybody who builds, scam, you're just opportunist, right? And you have to you're going to have to build. It's not about Ripple, guys. How has that worked for you for 6 years? How has focusing on Ripple helped you for 6 years? It's just a point. So in this coming year, it is going to be awareness from BCB. We are falling behind, but that's an opportunity. It's not the death stroke. It's a huge opportunity. The thing that would suck is if we were doing all the right things and we couldn't see any progress happen. There's a very clear area of work that we have to do. And focusing on that and improving that should help. If we were doing all the right things and nothing was working, that would be disappointing. But there's definitely areas we can improve on. And so that'll be the awareness of 2024. Hypno. Yeah, this question gets asked all the time. He says, hey, I've measured the Dow Jones Industrial Average high in 1919 to the low in 1921. The 1929 peak goes above the 4.618 fib. Could we see the Dow Jones Industrial Average go to the 4.618 fib this time around, or did I measure wrong? Yeah, so I'm not going to put the whole thing up in here. I guess I can. It's just a pain in the butt. Right, so here's what he's talking about. Right here. Goes above 4.618, right? So that's what his question is. Does that mean we're going to go higher in here? And of course, that's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants for it to go higher. You can guess, you can bet, place your bets that that's what will happen. I personally am not going to bet that way. So what we are doing is we're saying there's two confluence events here, because then what's the opposite thing we could do? We could just say, well, how about just percentage? How about what's the percentage size of this thing? We know that it ran up almost about 500% before it collapsed, right? So from here to here is a 500% run, and then it collapsed, right? Nothing changes if I move this. So if I bring this over here, oh, I've already had it over here the whole time. Get out of here. There it is. But I'll use the one we just pasted so you can see that it's not that I've done anything to it. Right. So if we still just use that, even though I've shifted it all the way up here, it will change nothing here that this is a 500% run. Right. Still 500% in here. How far have we run here? 479. Right. So we've done almost equivalent sizes. While it's not a 4.236 of the Great Depression, it does also happen to be a 4.236 of the Great Financial Crisis, right? I know we have a lot on the screen, guys. Sorry, it's normally much cleaner than this, but it's because we're talking about multiple things in here. As you can see, it just so happens to also be that the 500% is our 4.236 extension. So if you want to bet on fibs beyond that because of that one time back in 1929, you're welcome to. But the thing is, in 1929, it was a 500% run, right? It was 500%. That was the ending. And we're only 5% away from 500%, right? So here's the worst part about these things too, is that, hopefully it gets to a 4.236 extension. The greed is so much after a 480% run that everybody chases every last percentage. It's just like at the bottom of the bear, people are like, they're like, here, I can make this trade for 1.75%. Why didn't you take that opportunity to blockchain back? It's like, yeah, because I just don't care. I just don't care about 1.75%. Just because you're bored, I don't care. I don't. There are people who are risking everything to get the last 4%. Not me, man. Not me. Like from my stock portfolio, it's more short than it is long. My kids' college educations, they're all 2/3 money market. I'm not chasing that in that aspect. But to each their own. To go for the last 4% or to hope it goes above 4.236. The thing is that these things, this copy and paste just so happens to be a 4.236 extension, and percentage-wise of 500% makes them identical. So to each their own. We also have the confluence of the rate cut stuff, right? We know that we tend to go off into these new highs in the pause, and once those rate cuts come, the sky falls down to the ground. So choose what you want. I'm not gonna bet on it for sure. I have to lean more towards this. I can't. There's no what measurable thing is there to say? Oh, but see, in the 19 teens, and then it's in the 1920s, which is 100 years ago, it went above there. So we're just gonna randomly guess. I mean, will it poke above? Possibly, but hard. You don't have any quantitative rule to follow at all. You know what I mean? But thank you, Hypno. Peter Pan, don't fret the haters. Rather have a grounded analysis than a moon boy pipe dream perspective. I don't care about the haters. I don't care. I have some that are so obsessed with me, dude. I've got one guy. He's got over 50 accounts. 50 accounts. He's got his one main account where he's got almost 10,000 followers. And then he's got 50 side accounts. He puts a picture on them. He's full-blown obsessed. I've got just haters throughout the roof. It's wild. The thing is, people, you want the enemy, right? We want to rally around the enemy. The guy who says we're going down, you want to rally around that. No, we're the team of up now. We got fooled by the 10 to 12K for all year long. We thought we were going to buy really cheap. We're bulls. No, not anymore. No, sir. We will not stand for that. And then, we doesn't have anything to do with what you stand for. It's just analysis. How you could get fought against to say, hey, every time we get here, it rejects. And we've said the whole year that's where we're going. And it should be standing up, flexing my muscle with a grand trophy of amazement. But I knew it wouldn't be that, right? And I explained that to you guys way ahead of time. When we get here, extreme excitement, people will hate me, retail will buy. I'll say I'm selling. They say they're going to hate me. It's the identical thing that happens every single time. This time is not different. It is not. We get through it. Then they say, no, you were wrong. It's what? Get out of here. Get out of here. Right? It falls. No, you were wrong. Okay, fine. Fine. No, you were lucky. Nobody could have saw this company coming. There was a ship that sank in the Red Sea, and that caused Bitcoin to fall. Oh, my God. Okay. Fine. But I'm used to that, guys. I've been here long, and I've been doing this long enough. This is not my first rodeo. Most hated man on Twitter and here. Most hated man here. Most hated man here. Hair. And it's just the way it goes. And I even posted in my update when I stood right in here, when I started selling some of my Bitcoin, I even wrote in there, look, listen to this. Good stuff. I gotta get to it. Hold on. I got to get to it. Okay. When I started selling right here in my tweet, I said Bitcoin's bullish move has been going on for over 1 year. Many are just realizing it now. With that, I'm beginning to actively sell the Bitcoin that I bought at the lows. We're up 162%. It's only 24% until we hit the 1 trillion market cap, the 702 retrace. I suspect the comment section will be filled with, "We're just starting. Are you crazy? Bitcoin ETF." We aren't just starting. It's been rising for over a year. The vast majority waited, panicking during the wall of worry. But now most aren't worried anymore. They are fearless. And again, this is posted on December 3rd, right back in here, right? But most aren't worried anymore. They are fearless. I suspect we'll see 30 to 32K one day, even in the most bullish of scenarios. Maybe I'll buy it there. Quote, "What will you do if it goes into an all-time high?" Well, I own altcoins. I'll absolutely demolish Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes into an all-time high, and anyone who has studied the historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market knows that. And I still suspect altcoins are going to massively outperform Bitcoin if all this is a retrace for Bitcoin. See my recent Wyckoff accumulation posts. Otherwise, what a journey. Feels good to take some off the table. I spent a year and a half on the opposite side of retail with them screaming we're going to 12K. I got to enjoy about a month with us on the same side as excitement returned above 35K. But this will, of course, put me on the enemy list again. That's unfortunate, but it comes with the territory of going against the consensus. That. It's because I've been here before. I've gone through this at least 5 times. Where they all paint me as the most terrible human in the world. And so it's just nothing new for me, guys. I appreciate the support, and I actually do appreciate you guys are like, "Hey, brush it off, don't worry about it." And this one I'm handling very well. It's tough in here when you're a bull, and they're screaming at you that you're going to go to the Doomtown stuff, right? And you're like, "No, you're wrong, and then you shoot to the upside. It's much easier being on the opposite side of them here. But just remember, we're on the opposite side of them here, and they're all scared. Then you get up here, then they're all fearless. It's just natural human emotion, human behavior of what happens in crypto and on technical levels. And I try to teach you guys this stuff too, that retail buys back and it retraces, and then they hate you. They think you're a horrible human being. It's like, well, you do know that happened here. You do know that happened here. And you do know that happened here. Yeah, but this time is different. Ah, yes, I forgot. This time is different. The old class, that one. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Peter, thank you, brother. Rob Smith, janitor. Hey, we got janitor. We got them all. Thanks, Rob. Gary One, I can't wait to get into the dev report. I noticed CeeLo has high dev activity. Would you have any thoughts on that? Also, how is Coin doing? I haven't looked at Coin in a couple of days. I think Coin's probably down. That's up a little bit. It's at 135. CeeLo, yeah, and I don't know anything about CeeLo, but I think it's showed up on, it's showing up on activity stuff, man. So it gives you a path to go down, right? And the numbers do not lie, guys. The numbers do not lie. The probabilities increase percentage-wise with those dev coins. And I've done all the math for you. And you can get those resources completely for free to go educate yourself. You do not need to rely on some dude on Twitter who has YOLO'd into a $100,000 market cap coin and then tells you to go buy it, and then he dumps it on you. You don't need to do that. You don't have to. You can go learn on your own. It's him, Oscar Hernandez. Green is a really nice color. If you know, you know. Hit the like button. BCB callers. Oscar, good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Oscar Hernandez says, you forgot the energy sector. Well, I think it depends, right? If you work in the office of the energy sector, then you're white collar. But Oscar, if you're out there on the rigs, man, blue, right? I don't know. I think so. Hoot says, yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. And that's exactly right. JP Smith, noob question. For most of these coins mentioned in the developer report, most seem to be ERC20 coins that are not tied to the price of Ethereum. Do they eventually decouple from Ethereum? You'll have to do your own look on ERC. I haven't done a ERC20 solo. It'd be cool to build like an ERC, like build a market cap. It would be really cool, actually. And I hope I remember this. And TXMC, hopefully you're listening and you do it because you're the man. You always do. If you could build a market cap of like the top 15 ERC20 coins and like see how that performs on its own, that would be interesting. Where's the correlation of that in regards to Ethereum price action and in regards to the rest of the cryptocurrency market? It says most of the coins mentioned in the developer data seem to be ERC20 coins that are not timed. Yes, you're going to notice that actually in a lot of stuff that ERC20 is like they have, these guys have no problem being able to track what's going on in their repositories on ERC20 stuff. A lot of other ones, they have to like really figure out how to get that data, and it makes it a little bit harder. At least that's the way Brian from Santiment explained it when he came on the channel. It's much easier for them to be able to track a lot of the ERC20 stuff. But you saw all the other things on there too, right? I mean, you saw Solana, XRP, Stellar Lumens, BNB. I mean, you saw them all on there. Tron. I mean, it wasn't just ERC20. But I think the vast majority of coins in the space just are ERC20s. Learn to house wash. I had a dream last night that I was out west in the Rockies. But thank you, JP. I had a dream. Learn to house wash said I had a dream last night that I was out west in the Rockies at some music venue, and you were the drummer for the band. Boy, that would be weird. Dude, I've slacked on my drums. I have slacked. Just haven't had time. This is what everybody says, right? That's totally a lie. That's 100% a lie that just came out of my mouth. It has been laziness. That is what it is. Yeah, I haven't been playing. I need to get back on it. George Alexanderopoulos. It's like people who say, I don't have time to go to the gym. Yeah, you do. You just set your alarm for 4 a.m. That's it. George, but I like my sleep. Oh, that's your excuse. George Alexanderopoulos. You can't save them all, BCB. Thanks for the alpha. Thank you, George. Stephen Edinburgh, member for 8 months. We appreciate you, fella. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen, are you from Australia? I think about 10% of my audience is from Australia. Isn't that wild? Larry Chisholm, hey BCB, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average starts its descent down, how long do you think before it bottoms? I'm not predicting. Let's be very clear. I am not predicting a 3-year Great Depression crash. In any way, I have no clue what the structure down will look like until it starts printing itself and we start getting obvious stuff happening in there. I just don't. I don't have any clue what it would look like on the way down. Maybe it's nuts. Maybe it's absolutely nuts. Maybe it takes 40 years. Don't know. Have to see what happens, right? And I think that a lot of that gets answered when we find out how much all these financial products are intertwined within each other. Like when we actually do end up having those liquidation events that happen, like in the stock market for COVID or during the great financial crisis, you have just unwinding of balance sheets happening all at once. And that's the problem that ends up happening. A lot of the stuff is that it is liquidations happening, and you can't stop liquidations. The Fed can't come in and stop liquidations, guys. If liquidations are in, they're going. The Fed is not going to print out of that. That will just happen. Oh, there you go. Stephen says, Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. There's a little hint there, basically. Okay. Well, Pat, he hasn't been here in a while because once the time changed, it's like 2 a.m. when I go live for him. But he's in Australia, and he calls me fella all the time. I thought maybe that was an Australian thing. Larry Chisholm, I already got you, brother. Thank you very much, man. I don't know how long it would take. No, I don't have the slightest clue. Satana, new member, welcome. Carl, member for 6 months. Good morning, BCB. What's your favorite drum tubers? Mine is Samus 66. I don't have anyone in particular, but it's very fun to discover new people. Like when you're wanting to learn a new song and there's like not good drum tabs out there, to just watch other random people play it, and then you find somebody who's like wicked good. And I mean, there's chicks out there who can drum, guys. I mean, dude, like I will never be as good as some of these chicks, for sure. Sebastian, I'm getting married 6/8 and planning my honeymoon to Africa or Asia afterwards. Will a global crisis hold off until at least July? You the man. Oh boy. Good luck. Good luck, Sebastian. Yeah, I'm not going to put that negative mojo on you. Maybe it's just a liquidation event and there is no catalyst. That would be wonderful. Most of the times there is a catalyst. There is an event that we all blame and nobody could have saw coming. It just shows up like magical unicorn fairy dust. But hopefully not, right? Kind of like with Bitcoin. When it rolled over at the top, it was nothing but positivity. ETF launches right here. CEO of Apple goes on CNBC and tells everybody to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin. And then it just rolls over and it doesn't have any reason why whatsoever. It's time for the rollover to begin. Hopefully it's, there's no big United Health thing that happens, right? Healthcare related wise, that's just keeps me up at night. Boy, look at it. There we go. How you doing? United Health, you coming back a little bit? But yeah, you'll be fine, buddy. Congratulations to you. Congratulations on getting married, finding a partner. JP, I don't know how to do it. I need to talk with TXMC. He knows how to do everything when it comes to building scripts, and he like makes scripts and then he shares them with me. But I don't know how to do any of the script building. Maybe I'll talk to him about that and see if that'd be something that would be educational and people probably would like. BCB, do you ever struggle on a moral level that your knowledge and talent will result in you winning but others losing capital? No, well, because I try to share it, right? And so the moral problem I have, which there's a complete lack of moral issue when it comes to content creation, is that when I do feel that there is something, like there's times I get things wrong. I mean, that is life. It just happens. I get things wrong. But whenever I have conviction on something, I'm screaming it from the rooftops. Screaming it from the rooftops at the bottom, people are like, no, I was just a content creator doing it. No, man, this is what I thought. And I said all along, we get back to retracements levels. The only thing I can do is scream it from the rooftops that this is what I think is happening in here. So if anything, it's more of like I'm helping. The way I view it is like if I'm getting things right and trying to provide education to help people, that it's providing a bigger good. But the thing you have to realize in the game of markets, in the game, there's a winner and there's a loser. And the winner is typically the bank. It is typically the big boys. And it's a really great narrative for Bitcoiners to be screaming they front ran the banks. Really? You think for half a second you have front run the banks? They just got blindsided by their own ETFs getting approved and you front ran them. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You did not front run the banks. You just got suckered. That is the more likely thing. And so but from content creation, it's like, no. We create the hype. We create it. We get the views. You get the clicks, the affiliate links. And if there's just a big thing, and it's like, I don't mind that my brand is you hate me because I'm Anti-Bitcoin. You hate me because I think we're going to an all-time high. You hate me because I think we're topping. You hate me because I think we're bottoming. You hate me because I think we're topping, and I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It's given me staying power to be around this long, even when there's times I do get things wrong. I think people know that I'm trying my best. And even if there's going to be a time where there's going to be a full-blown attack and assault at me, I don't mind walking into the fire and doing it. So I think the most genuine place in my heart, I'm doing it I don't know how you get more moral than what I'm trying to do, how I can take the flames anymore or the arrows or the darts thrown at me in any other way more than I do. So, but the true reality of the game is there is a winner, there is a loser. And to point out that the reality is it is the herd that is typically the loser. It is typically the large group. It is typically the retail investor collectively running in the herd, seeking safety amongst everybody else. And that it is the banks leading you to the slaughterhouse. And if you don't wake up and recognize that you're running with the herd, you don't realize you're running straight into the slaughterhouse. And so we try to find the technicals and the behaviors and the underlying things going on in the markets to show that, hey, everybody's excited, but this is actually the time to not be excited. Or, hey, everybody's utterly terrified, but it's actually not the time to be terrified. And we try to show that on here. And, so I can 100% sleep at night knowing that I'm doing my best to help people and educate people. The things that drive me mad and angry is that there is a massive allurement as a content creator. The DMs are filled. The offers are endless to promote coins, sponsorships, to front run in small caps. And that from my perspective, knowing all that and all the offers that I get and understanding the influence you have as an influencer, that if I go scoop up some coin with like $100,000 market cap and I go buy $5,000 of it, and then I go tell you guys this is the next best thing, everybody's gonna run to it, pump it, and sell it, and I'm gonna sell it. Right? That is the most common crap that happens in this space, and it makes me mad. That it's just like what the F, man? Like, and the endless offers of sponsorships, whatever, man. Whatever. We'll fight it. We'll be jerks about it the whole way. So, all right. All right, Carl, I have to see what that coin is. He says you have been doing your course, and I'm trying to do this. I don't know what this coin is, buddy. So while you say you got the course, man, if you've given me a market cap coin of number 500, I'm not pulling it up on the screen, dude. Okay, 109. We can do it. Okay, first of all, I've never heard of this thing before. So on Coinbase. Okay, well it's already pumped, bro. All right, straight line up with the rest of the market stalled. Completed 5-wave impulse on daily. And is now completing a wave A correction. Did I get that right? This one's, it's just not clear as day. And how much liquidity do we have in this thing? So it's less than $200,000 a day. Even prior to its pump, it was like $20,000 a day in liquidity. It's hard to know if there's even a strong market maker on it. Yeah, if I was going to count it, right? If I was going to count it, A, B, and then this would be C leg. But this one scares me. I'm not touching this one. It's just this isn't a setup I'd be chasing after something up 300%. But watching to see if this was actually wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. right? That this would be A, B, and then coming in for C down in here on top of wave 1 to keep going. But this would, the only trade I would be doing this if I was guessing for me, blockchain backer, would be that I'd be trying to say, if I'm gonna trade this potentially as any type of Elliott wave trade, A, B, C, and then I'd be trying to buy on the top of potential wave 1 and then stop lossing right below it. Because if I'm wrong, okay, then I'm wrong. But this thing's ugly, low volume, low liquidity. And I don't know what it is, and it doesn't pull up on any of these development activity things that we look at. So I don't know who's the bag holder. I don't know who the inflation rate of this thing, anything like that. But I'd probably be looking at it as wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thank you, Carl. That one's a tough one because it's just not clean. You asked if it's completed wave 5. I could argue maybe it's on 4. Oscar Hernandez, they hate us because they ain't us. Yes, I liked that you put that on Twitter, dude. Thank you. T, member for 8 months. We love you, BCB. Thank you, my man T. Hot Tub Brian, from the wise mouth of Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. Yep, I've seen Talladega Nights at least 50 times. One of the best movies of all time. Mike says, I'd like to hear your analysis on C. Don't worry, it's top 50. Yeah, it's something I just wouldn't touch. It's the exact same story of everybody. Hey, it's already really pumped. We should all buy it now. Not something for me. It's also overhyped. It's also all over Twitter. It's also who posted about C the other day that you were like, wow. Oh, no, I don't know who it was. Massively overhyped. The juice has fallen off from the thing. If you're buying this thing, well, guess what? You could have bought it in the last, since October, it has pumped 800%. Nobody wants anything. Like, it is just consistent. If you guys don't realize it, nobody wants anything when it's low. Everybody wants everything after it is already pumped. And Solana is the example too, right? But for this, I'd expect this thing to correct at some point. And the thing that also signals that just how much interest is, there's going to be some correction at some point on this thing. But that's all the information that you have. You could argue 1, 2, there's massive wave 3, here's 4, and then it's going to put in 5. But you don't have a lot of data on measuring for in here. But I know that this is like retail investors have been chasing the heck out of this for the last few weeks up in here. And that just makes sense. You want to ask me something interesting, guys, like go find a chart that just hasn't gone yet. Go say, hey, this has high development activity. It's consolidating and it's looking really interesting. But people do always care. Hey, what about this one that has already pumped? I just bought it. What do you think? And you didn't say that. But I do know that's what happens a lot of the time. So like this last one, it's pumped pretty big, right? Like, see, no question. All over Twitter, people are just like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. And it's very normal for me to be like this about stuff that is already pumped. The idea is to get the pump. The idea is not to buy after the pump and hope it pumps more. Right, guys? D is for Dodge. Hey, BCB, have you heard of a tombstone candle? I was watching him about guys talk about it. I was wanting your thoughts about it. The actual monthly for Bitcoin tombstone candle. Let's Google it. Tombstone candlestick pattern. Is it called gravestone or tombstone? I think it's called a gravestone. Investopedia. Give me a picture of one, guys. Well, you're not going to give me a picture of a gravestone. I mean, the cold, hard reality is for Bitcoin. I mean, Look at the size of the wick. You haven't seen a rejection wick of that magnitude yet all year. That thing is nasty. Look at that thing. Nasty. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so much on like exact what this candlestick is or bad, but the thing that you clearly see is quick rejection. The quick rejection that happens in there and then closes at the lows. These are historically bad. You'd be looking for the reverse, like that looks like a reversal candlestick. Big time. I'm trying to find gravestone for you. Investopedia's a horrible explanation for it and horrible images. We'll do this. We'll do images. I'll just grab this. And we'll paste it from Google. Which you can't trust these images, by the way, Google. Yeah. There's gravestone. But see what's interesting? All the gravestones, look at that. They kind of open and close at the same spot. That's what I keep seeing about these gravestones. Like it's kind of like a doji, but no, gravestone closes right back where it opened at, which isn't what we have, right? It is even worse. It gets rejected hard. So I don't care about particular candlestick names that often. That's why we don't bring them up. Mike says I got into C early. I was fifth wave. I saw a fifth wave remaining as well, and I just wanted to see if you saw the same thing. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, candlesticks. I mean, it's ugly, right? It's ugly for sure. Weekly ugly. And it's very difficult to find anybody being bearish about Bitcoin out there when just look at the weekly relative strength and stochastic RSIs over here for Bitcoin. Retracement level that gets hit. Ugly A candle. The sign, there's some things to be concerned about right there. Jacob, unfortunately, because I'm going to have to keep going through. I'm getting asked a lot about a lot of different altcoins now. I'm going to have to get through this. Sometimes it sets off a chain reaction of people asking about lots of altcoins. And I actually got to wrap this thing up because we're at an hour and 30. Jacob says, hey, I can't find anything on 1inch and GTC. I don't know what GTC is in the dev report. What's your thoughts on 1inch and GTC 618 possible fib? Thanks for all you do. I can't pull up both of those coins right there. 1inch, if it's not on there, check sentiment, see if there's any developer activity over there for 1inch on there. They definitely don't carry everything at all on developer report. They don't have everything. So you'll just have to kind of keep hunting around for that and figure that out on your own. I know in sentiment, you can just look for a particular coin and then you can type in developer activity and look at a chart specifically for that coin. So maybe go check them out for anything on 1inch. GTC, I don't know. But as for charting, guys, I'm going to have to keep going here. I can't pull up every altcoin to do that. He asked for GTC and for 1inch. I'm sorry, brother. I'm going to have to keep going. HTB, because we're at an hour and 32. I got to go. Hot Tub Brian gifted 10 BCB memberships. Brother, thank you very, very much. That's very generous of you, sir. HTB, Hot Tub Brian. Guys, thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I hope you all are doing absolutely magnificent. If you need something to do throughout the day, that's where I normally say, go to bcbacker.com. But you should, but at the same time, hey, you got something free you can go check out too. Go check out Developer Report. Check out bcbacker.com. If you don't want to understand why those things actually did matter, of course, check out the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com where we dive into all of that. Of course, my most recent newsletter is in there from a couple of days ago after Bitcoin hit its 618 retracement level. And of course, I have my 2024 outlook looking ahead in here to where people will realize I'm not just some nut job who's a doomer, but these are things that we've talked about for a very long time. They're just coming to fruition now. Otherwise, guys, I hope that you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you for your support, super chats, the gifted memberships to people in the chat, and most of all, just hitting the like button, being here, being active in the chat, and the kind words, guys. Appreciate it very much. We're under the crossfire here right now, but that's what I do, and I know everything turns out okay. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. If you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one, guys.